Well, I think that it's a snowball effect, frankly. What I have tried to do is also give a voice to my clients.
Right.
So that, for example, many of the cases you'll see my clients on television, not all, that's actually only a small percent of all my cases.
Right.
A lot of them you will never even know.
And I think that's important. That's important to emphasize.
Yeah.
That's sort of why I'm asking.
Because I don't
Right.
believe that women should have to suffer in silence, that minorities should have to suffer in silence.
Right.
And I do want employers and other wrongdoers to know that, you know, I could be on their doorstep next if they don't do the right thing
Right.
in their particular workplace by women and by minorities. And so, yes, we've helped to empower our clients so that in an appropriate case, they will speak out. I'm going to talk about some of those cases when I speak to the Ventura County Democratic Club.
Right.
And we're very excited because it's important that people are now utilizing their rights, because so many people fought and marched and died
Right.
for women and minorities to be able to have rights. But we now need to use those rights and assert those rights in a court of law. So in many ways, at our law firm, at Allred, Morocco, and Goldberg, we work to advance those rights and use those rights. We're like private attorney generals in that regard.
You are a self-avowed feminist. You proudly use the label. That label has come under fire. It is what, in academic jargon, problematic. I.e., it's complex.
I don't know. I don't think it's complex at all, frankly.
Right. Okay. There's a generation gap. If you look at studies where younger women seem less inclined to describe themselves that way, and at numerous conferences on progressive issues, it even comes to shouting between younger women and older women. What seems to be the problem, and how can that be bridged?
I personally have never had the experience of younger women shouting at me.
All right. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
No, they usually come to me for help.
Right.
But I will say this, that according to the dictionary, a feminist is simply a person who believes in legal, social, political, and economic equality for women with men.
Right.
So for me, then, the opposite of a feminist would be a bigot. Who would believe in second-class citizenship for women with men. So to me, it's like you're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. There's no in between. So you're either feminist or you're a bigot, and so you can choose. Now, you do have a point, though, in the generational gap, and it has often been said that the women's movement is unique in that it's the only movement in which the participants become more radical as they get older.
Right.
And I think that that's true because as women get older, they look at their own life experience and they realize that more has to be done for women to have rights. Divorce is a radicalizing experience. Failure to be able to collect court-ordered child support is a radicalizing experience for women. There are a lot of young women who have had their expectations raised by those of us who are older to believe that they are going to be able to enjoy equality. There's no problem anymore. That they will be judged on their merits. They just should go to college and get educated and everything will be fine. And they'll meet Prince Charming and they'll go off into the sunset and live happily ever after. But as we say, the women's movement is about what if Prince Charming never comes? Or what if Princess Charming never comes? Or what if Prince Charming comes and turns into a frog?
Right.
And that's what it's all about. And as the young women realize that they are still going to be denied equal employment opportunity, many of them on the job, get less pay, get sexually harassed, maybe find the glass ceiling, not get promoted according to their merits, so not get all the benefits of employment that a man would get, that becomes a radicalizing experience. And that's why as they get older, they realize the importance of the women's movement. And some of the most radical people, if you walk through a nursing home, you'll see a lot of the women. As I walk through sometimes, they'll be waving their canes at me and they'll say, keep it up, fight even harder, Gloria, we love it, keep on, because more has to be done. Don't you let them stop you.
Right.
That is what happens. And it's not because anybody's learned this in college. Some people have. I myself never had a women's studies class. I wish that I'd had. But it is what happens as they get older. So I think education is the answer. And education also helps to empower women.
Right.
And also when they see role models like Lily Ledbetter, role models like a lot of my clients, standing up and fighting for their rights, then they realize that they don't have to suffer anymore, that there's something they can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of the younger women or the other women who've said, oh, we don't need those rights. Those are some of the same people who come in to see me and they say, oh, we're so sorry we ever said things like that. It was so foolish of us.
Right.
Can you help us now?
Right.
Of course I do.
The primary battle this last political season between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, it opened up a lot of deep wounds that had been simmering, that had been papered over for a long time. And no matter which side of it, side of that battle one took, it became fairly obvious, and it brought up the issue, for instance, when you talk about suffrage, that regardless of what actual practices occurred, especially in the South, where black men still couldn't vote, you know, the simple fact of the matter is that black men got suffrage decades before women got suffrage, and racism has become more acceptable than most misogyny, especially softer sort of misogyny that we don't really, you know, talk about or even see as
right.
misogyny.
A lot of people think sexism is acceptable, but
Right.
they would never want to
Exactly.
be seen as a racist, but as a sexist, they're somehow proud. They
Right.
call it male chauvinism.
Right. And so what I want to ask is, you know, women are 50% of the population, actually more than that, because they live
Yes,
longer.
we're the majority.
Right. So why is that the case? Why is discrimination against other groups seem to be less acceptable? Why does it take longer for women to get the vote? Why is that the case?
Well, I think it's the case because women have not yet organized effectively enough in order to win their rights. It's just as simple as that. And other minorities are organizing, gays and lesbians are organizing, African Americans are organized, and they engage in a lot of activism, sit-ins, marches, protests. And the women's movement, I think, has not been as activist as it could be. And it's the wheel that squeaks that gets the grease, and that's the way it is in politics as well. We need to be more activist.
So what has been the problem? I hear a figure, like talking to Lily Ledbetter, Latina women getting paid less than 50 cents on the dollar for men. White women still getting paid 78 cents on the dollar versus men. You know, there is a pay on the dollar for race and even for sexual orientation and whatnot. But these are screaming injustices. What has been the problem with organizing and getting that out
Well,
there?
organizing is one way.
Right.
Lawsuits are another way.
Yeah.
I do more in the area of lawsuits because I do think that employers really get a good education when it costs them.
Right.
When they have to look at their bottom line and realize how much they had to pay us, that is our clients, because we have proven or would be able to prove if they let this case go to trial, how much essentially they've cheated our clients out of economically on account of their gender or on
Right.
account of their race or on account of their physical handicap, on account of their age, on account of their sexual orientation or condition of AIDS. And we are winning a lot of those cases. So as the word gets out to employers, they realize, wait a minute, it isn't a matter of theoretically, do we think women should have equal rights with men? It's a question of, this is really going to cost us unless we pay women equally. It's going to cost us a lot more in litigation costs, executives having to sit at depositions, and many other costs. So perhaps even punitive damages in appropriate cases. So that's the way we educate them.
Got it.